Dear students, welcome to Dr. Deepa Dahake's NEET Biology, and in today's session we mainly discuss about the process of phosphorylation. When we study about phosphorylation, so all of you normally knows that the phosphorylation is the process of ATP synthesis. And how does this ATP synthesis during the phenomena of photosynthesis that we study here? And mainly when we study about phosphorylation, so we mainly discuss about cyclic phosphorylation and non-cyclic phosphorylation. So first, when we study about phosphorylation, so here you remember during light reaction of photosynthesis, radiant energy, you remember, we say radiant energy is stored in the form of ATP, as well as this energy is also stored in the form of NADPH. But here we study about phosphorylation, that's why we only study about the ATP. Now here you remember when this ATP formation is take place, so the process of synthesis of ATP during electron transport in photosynthesis. This process, you remember, this process is called as photophosphorylation, or simply you remember phosphorylation. The phenomena of phosphorylation is simply, you remember one time again, related to ATP synthesis. Now when we study about phosphorylation, so here you remember cell organelles which involve in phosphorylation. Two cell organelles, though we study this topic under the photosynthesis, but entirely we study the phosphorylation where the phosphorylation is present in living system. Cell organelles when you study, so cell organelles, you remember the first cell organelle in plant cell is chloroplast, which associate with phosphorylation, and another cell organelle in all eukaryotic cell is mitochondria, and this mitochondria also responsible for the synthesis and storage of ATP, and that's why we already studied that the mitochondria is called as powerhouse of cell. When the ATP generation is take place in chloroplast, so it required the presence of sunlight. That's why in chloroplast photosynthesis phosphorylation is called as photophosphorylation. This part you remember. But when we come towards the mitochondria, in respiration we studied that how the mitochondria is responsible for the phosphorylation or ATP synthesis. But in mitochondria, you remember, when in mitochondria we study, so in mitochondria you remember the process is called as oxidative phosphorylation. So oxidative phosphorylation, you very well remember that oxidative phosphorylation is take place in mitochondria, because during phosphorylation oxidation and reduction processes are completed in mitochondria. So this part you remember. In photosynthesis we only study about the photophosphorylation. Now when we study about photophosphorylation or phosphorylation, so one enzyme we required for the synthesis of ATP, that enzyme you remember, commonly the enzyme is called as ATPase, or you remember the another name of enzyme is ATP synthase. So this part you remember, ATPase or ATP synthase, or initially it is called as ATP synthetase. These enzymes you remember required for the synthesis of ATP. Now when we come towards the electron transport, so here you remember site of phosphorylation. What is the site of phosphorylation in case of photosynthesis or in chloroplast? So phosphorylation predominantly you remember completed in photosystem, that both the photosystems are responsible, and these photosystem you remember, these photosystem when you study, so these photosystem you predominantly already we studied the PS1 and PS2 दोनों आप पढ़ चुके हैं photosystem. And if in terms of the part of chloroplast is asked for the site of phosphorylation, then you remember the photosystems are located on the surface of thylakoid membrane. So outer and inner surface of thylakoid membrane is the site of phosphorylation. So this part also you remember for mainly for the objective exams. Next, when we discuss about phosphorylation, so here we study about the type of phosphorylation. When we discuss about the type of phosphorylation, so you remember the two types are there, cyclic phosphorylation and the another is non-cyclic phosphorylation. So this part you remember, and now we come towards the discussion about the cyclic and non-cyclic phosphorylation. So this part you remember, cyclic, very short, cyclic means the electron again and again reaches to reaction center or return back to reaction center. So the flow of electron is in cyclic way, that's why it is called as cyclic phosphorylation. Non-cyclic phosphorylation means you remember when the transport of electron take place in such a way that once the electron is releases from reaction center, it never return back to the reaction center, and that's why this is called as non-cyclic, cyclic I mentioned here, non-cyclic phosphorylation. So this part you remember. So now we come towards the cyclic phosphorylation. So now we discuss about the cyclic photophosphorylation. First thing you remember, the cyclic photophosphorylation associate with or function of, you can remember, it is associate with PS1, and that's why we say the reaction center for cyclic phosphorylation is P700. This part you remember. Why we say cyclic phosphorylation? Because the flow of electron during ATP synthesis is in cyclic way. Cyclic way means the electron again and again return back to the reaction center. When electron leave this reaction center, at that time the electron is energy rich electron, but when it return back to the reaction center, at that time you remember the electron is low energy electron, because the energy of electron is used in the synthesis of ATP from ADP and inorganic phosphate. So this part you remember. Secondly, when you study the phosphorylation phenomena, so in cyclic phosphorylation you remember only ATP is produces NADH or NADPH, we say NADPH never be produces in cyclic phosphorylation. So only ATP is produces. First thing you remember. Secondly, the cyclic phosphorylation never associate with generation of molecular oxygen. So here you remember it never associate with generation of or production of molecular oxygen. Why it is not associate? Because you remember the photolysis of water in presence of sunlight, water is broken down. So photolysis of water is not feature of cyclic phosphorylation. So this part you remember, the key feature of the cyclic phosphorylation. When we study about the transport, when we in last session we studied about the photosystem 1 and 2. So in photosystem 1 we appear or we already studied the flow of electron, that how does the electron acceptors are responsible for the flow of electron in photosystem 1. So you kindly go through that lecture. In case if the you are having any doubts or the students who are first time join for the today's session. So this part you remember. In short, I draw here that the reaction center is P700. This is the cycle. According to that we follow here. Here the electron acceptor. Electron acceptor is actually ferredoxine. But here we simply mentioned electron acceptor, and above the electron acceptor PS1 is mentioned. From this electron acceptor, electron are transported to electron transport system, and the energy of 2 electrons are transported, and the energy of electron you remember is used in the synthesis of ATP, and after that again this electron is returned back to the reaction center, and that's why this path is called as cyclic phosphorylation, because electron again and again return back to the reaction center, and this reaction center absorb the light of specific wavelength. So this part you remember. Now we come towards the non-cyclic phosphorylation. Non-cyclic phosphorylation whenever you study, so in non-cyclic phosphorylation you remember we mainly study about the Z scheme of electron transport or Z scheme of light reaction. So non-cyclic phosphorylation or photophosphorylation you remember simply. Now here you remember it is associate with PS2 and PS1. This part you remember very well, because students most of the time get confused, and normally they remember the PS1 is with cyclic and PS2 with non-cyclic, but PS1 you remember very well, the PS1 is involved in cyclic as well as non-cyclic phosphorylation. First thing you remember. Second you remember here, whenever we study about the electron transport, so reaction center is always you remember, because the phosphorylation or electron flow begins from the 680 P680. Therefore in non-cyclic, though both the photosystems are involved, but the reaction center of non-cyclic phosphorylation is called as P680. After that you remember, in non-cyclic phosphorylation ATP is produced, but ATP as well as along with ATP NADPH is also produces. So NADPH and H plus or NADH and H plus you can remember is also produces. Secondly, if we come towards the pathway, so the path of electron is Z-like. And why it is Z-like? Because electron from PS2 transported to the PS1, and that's why you remember when the electron transported from PS2 to PS1, during that transport we appear the Z path of electrons, and that's why this is called the Z scheme of electron transport. Here you remember the molecular oxygen is releases during non-cyclic phosphorylation, and PS2 you remember PS2 or P680 is related with photolysis of water. So this part you remember, the PS2 here, PS1 is not related, or the photolysis of water is not a feature of cyclic phosphorylation, but non-cyclic phosphorylation is always associated with the photolysis of water, and during this photolysis whatever protons to be produces, those protons are used in the reduction of NAD, and that's why along with ATP you remember NADPH and H plus is to produces. So here you remember, and why it is called non-cyclic. So you remember, once the electron is releases from reaction center, it never return back to the center. Energy of electron is stored in the form of NADPH and H plus. So this much you remember. Now we study about the path of electron, again strictly follow to NCERT, path of electron during the non-cyclic phosphorylation, and then we come towards the discussion about the cyclic and non-cyclic, summarized way, cyclic and non-cyclic phosphorylation. Now when we study about non-cyclic phosphorylation, the flow of electron begins from the reaction center P680. This reaction center P680 is also responsible for the photolysis of water. So here we only show the photolysis of water for one molecule. So here you remember, one molecule of water when photolysis undergoes in photolysis, at that time it produces 2 protons and molecular oxygen. In this way you remember, 2 protons and molecular oxygen is produces, and it releases chlorophyll molecule or the reaction center P680 by absorbing light of specific wavelength, become active energy rich molecule, and to come at its ground state or stable state, the chlorophyll A releases the 2 electron, and these 2 electrons are accepted by the next electron acceptor. Next electron acceptor is quinone, that we already study in photosystem 2. Here we only mention the electron acceptor. This flowchart of NCERT is very important for the diagram based question, and above here the PS2 is mentioned. So this part you remember, from electron acceptor the electrons are one by one transported to the next electron acceptor of the electron transport chain. During this electron transport chain, Again in between cytochrome B6 to cytochrome F, when electron is transported, the energy is stored in the form of ATP, and this ATP is synthesized from ADP and inorganic phosphate. How does this ATP is synthesized? How the hydrogen ion concentration is vary inside the lumen of thylakoid membrane as well as in stroma part of the chloroplast, that we discuss in next session when we study about the ATP synthesis during the phosphorylation phenomena. Here only we study the phosphorylation types. From this electron transport system, you remember the last plastocyanin is the electron acceptor. From plastocyanin, you remember the electron is transported to next reaction center. That next reaction center is P700. Again from P700, the electron is transported to next electron acceptor of the photosystem 2. So here if you appear the photosystem 1. So here you appear in that diagrams or flow chart. So you clearly appear PS1 is mentioned here, and then after the electron acceptor again transport or the transfer its electron to the next electron acceptor, that is the ferridoxine, and from this ferridoxine the two electrons, every time you remember the two electrons from ferridoxine is used, and along with these two electrons, the two protons which are produces during the photolysis of water, these two protons are used in reduction of NAD, and the NADH plus H plus is produces. So this part you remember. So if you appear the non-cyclic phosphorylation, the path is appear in the form of Z alphabet. That's why it is called as Z scheme of light reaction. So this part you remember, this is the Z scheme of light reaction, and during light reaction for NEET exam, you very well remember during Z scheme the transport of electron is always be from P680 towards P700 or from PS2 towards the PS1. This part you remember. Energy generation in terms of ATP as well as in terms of NADH and H+. So this much you remember for the non-cyclic phosphorylation. Now in very summarized way we study about the cyclic. This is the only summarized summary chart, you can say, in what way you can recall whatever you study in cyclic as well as in non-cyclic phosphorylation. So in cyclic phosphorylation, reaction center you remember P700, and electron acceptor again and again releases the electron, and electron transported to reaction center. In non-cyclic phosphorylation, you remember electrons from P680 transported to P700, and then the electron energy of that electron is used in production of NADH. Towards this side ATP is produced. So this part you remember. Secondly, non-cyclic phosphorylation and cyclic phosphorylation if you study. So cyclic phosphorylation on its own individually if you study. So cyclic phosphorylation is mainly take place on stroma lamellae, whereas the non-cyclic phosphorylation you remember, non-cyclic phosphorylation is completed on grana lamellae. So this you remember for the objective purpose. Secondly, in non-cyclic, energy is produces in terms of ATP and NADH plus H plus, but here only in cyclic phosphorylation energy is produces. Next feature if you study, So next part you remember in non-cyclic phosphorylation, photolysis of water is present or take place. Here the photolysis phenomena is completely absent. So photolysis you remember absent. Because of the absence of photolysis, molecular oxygen is also absent in cyclic phosphorylation. But you remember in non-cyclic, as the photolysis is present, so molecular oxygen is generated or produces. So this part you remember, this is the simple and very rapid revision part, that in what way you come towards the revision of the cyclic and non-cyclic phosphorylation. With this we sum up today's session. The students who are having any doubts and difficulty, they can repeatedly I am saying, if you have any doubts and difficulty, feel free to ask those doubts and difficulty. And as we completed this chapter, after this we come towards the ATP synthesis, and then we study about the dark reactions. But once the chapter photosynthesis is over, and after that if you want to study any another topic or any another chapter from the class 11, so kindly you suggest those topics, so we will begin from those topics and those chapter also. Up to next session, all the students stay motivated and stay blessed.